Jeepers creepers. Okay, boom. Round 3. I fucked this up twice now. Wow, no, it's not quite fair. First time my computer crashed. Second time I had a noise suppressor on that made the audio quality straight up doo-doo. So, let's do this nice and quick. Right, so referencing an EQ and how to hear when stuff's good, when stuff's bad, when stuff's got too much high end, when stuff's hissing at you, when stuff's too rumbly, too all of this stuff. So I would ordinarily have my mix against a pro mix, but because of YouTube legal stuff, I'm just not even going to risk it. So first things first, low end. Fundamental to every mix. Everyone likes good low end. Everyone likes feeling the music. Feel daridim. So what you're listening for here is basically you kind of want to feel like you put this filter on your mix and you kind of want to feel like nothing's really changed. You're just stood outside a club. Someone is blasting your mix in a club. You're stood outside waiting to get in, and it's like, oh man, I still know what's going on my song. I can still hear the vocal melody. I can still hear the separation between the snare low end, the kick, and the bass. They're all there, but they're not fighting each other so much. What else do you want to? You want to still be able to hear the kind of meat of your guitar. You don't want that being overtaken by all the bass. Yeah, basically you shouldn't lose anything when doing this. So yeah, I'll play it. Actually, wait, I haven't played the section. Yep. So here is a section of the song I wanted to play you. No EQ, no filtering, no nothing. God knows, I've seen this all. I love that chorus so much. Right, so sounds good. We're just doing our final checks. You know, we've brought in another track and we put these filters on the pro track, make sure they're roughly level matched. And then we listen. It's like, right, okay, so what does this sound like when it's just coming through essentially a sub? So yeah, that I think that mix kind of achieves all those things I said. You can still hear all the notes of the bass, doesn't get crowded out by the vocal or vice versa. When the kick drum comes in, it's big and beefy, but it's not like, you know, got this weird long nodey thing or anything like that. But if there were more issues, then the best thing to do is just to EQ your mix with this filter on. You know, just whack this filter on the 2-bus. And just start working. Just go, right, okay, so what the hell is getting in the way of my low end? What is it? Do I need to high pass stuff more? Do I need to do some of that like EQ carving thing? Like maybe my guitars that seemed fine whilst I was mixing it, maybe they're actually just too thin. Maybe my bass has got too much 80 hertz and not enough 180 hertz, you know? You just kind of figure it out, go back to your reference, try and listen to what that's doing, and you get closer to a more kind of professional low end, and you don't need to worry about balance as much, like EQ balance, because you've got points of reference to use, and then you can just be more creative. It's like, well, actually I want my kick drum a bit boomier. I feel like that's a good effect, but it's not so boomy that it doesn't sound like a pro track. Like, you can start being more creative and aesthetic with it rather than just going, oh god, I just don't know if this sounds even a little bit good. So yeah, first step, low pass, 180. It kind of sounds like it's just coming through a sub, which is important. Right, turn that off, turn this on, boom. Oh yes, that was from my last attempt at this video, round 3. So then you want to look at the mid-range, and much like the low end filter, everything still needs to sound like it's there, but you're just focusing on different things. It's not about the kick and the bass, or even though it kind of is. They still need to sound full, but this is really where you kind of focusing the mid-range. Is your snare getting in the way of the vocal when it's whacking is the let me think about this. The guitars clashing with your snare or your toms or something like that. So let's play this back, and hopefully we can hear everything and there's nothing getting in the way. The vocals are still king, snare's still doing its thing, and the guitars are still all audible. Running off the cold nose, seen this all. I could tell you we are all the same, dangerous on the way. We need to rock and I'm gonna save you. Alright, so I feel like we can still hear everything. Nothing is jumping out as too much of anything in that section. Obviously I'm listening blind, I can't bring in a pro reference, so what you would do is listen to this against a song that you'll maybe want this to sound close to. You go, oh gosh, the vocals got way more, I don't know, 1K, or the snare's much punchier at this region than my mix, so then you go through, maybe keep the filter on, maybe don't, it's up to you. And then you find it, and you get it closer to what you want it to sound like, and then again after you've kind of got it in a ballpark of this already sounds good, then you can start being creative and start making it work for you. So, in case you couldn't guess, we filtered at 2K here, so the next section is everything from 2K up, he says, as though he hasn't removed all his EQ moves. Right, boom. So, this one is definitely more clinical, I guess. You're listening for ugly cymbal hisses, sibilants, basically all the bad stuff. Because there's so much top end that needs to go into a pro sounding mix that it kind of exaggerates all of these ugly frequencies that you just got to kill. So it's like, yeah, are the guitars squealing? Because guitars like to squeal at you. The cymbals squealing at you. Is there enough kick drum snap and punch? Well, not punch, yeah, just like snap and clicky stuff maybe. Is the snare bright enough? Are the hi-hats too overbearing? Are the vocals still clear and full? Like, does it still feel like the mix is right? Can you still hear everything, basically? That's kind of the whole point of this, is that at no point should you not be able to hear at least something of all of the instruments. Like, yes, obviously removing all of this low end and mid range, I'm probably not going to hear my basses clearly, but I should still be able to hear maybe some clanking, some plucking, some of the melody going on. So yeah, let's listen to this 2K up and I'll make some comments. Right, so you can hear most of it. I can only hear the bass in certain specific sections, but you know, it's only 2K and above. I'm impressed I can hear any of the bass at all. So yeah, you might listen to this against a pro mix and hear more of the bass, and you might hear more of the kick drum, and then you might make that decision and go, oh great, okay, I need to go and sort out my EQ and get the kick drum much bigger at this region, and then it will sound more balanced. And then obviously once you've done all this, you then need to just listen to the mix without all these filters on, because it still needs to sound good with all of the frequencies there. So yeah, bring in a track, use these three filters. Those frequency ranges are just really useful, because it kind of goes from subby to small speaker to tiny speaker, and having the mix kind of translate well enough in all of those three ranges kind of is just a recipe for success. After that, it's, yeah, you're just thinking less about stuff, about problems, and you're thinking more about, does this mix do what it needs to do musically, creatively? Is it arranged well enough? Is it produced well enough? Blah blah blah. And you're just thinking less about the EQ because you've taken this kind of boring step to get the EQ, broadly speaking, correct. Yeah, I think I'll probably do a separate video for kind of going through getting a track to point A, because this is like if you're mastering or if you're just doing a final check. You can do this stuff when you're producing or when you're pre-mixing, and you could just get stuff to point A and then go, right, everything sounds relatively balanced, even, like decent. I've got rid of all the whistles and squeals and all this rubbish. And then you can start mixing creatively. You can start pumping in a boatload of top end and it sounds awesome, rather than like, oh god, I now need to go and notch out all of this turd. Yeah. So I'll come back with another video on what am I saying? On individual tracks and cleaning them up. But this is kind of how to reference and how to just check that your stuff sounds okay without getting, it kind of helps you reset, stops you getting lost in the mix and kind of fresh perspective. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Speak to you again. Peace.